Red Alert FM. News as it breaks. Heroes in disguise, bringing ability out of disability.
Welcome to Red Alert FM, and I am Ruth Ojebo, popularly known as the News Reservoir, and I have my partner in here. Yes.
Yeah, afternoon. My name is Roland. I'm a reporter with Red Alert FM. I'm always in this program of choice, this program for everybody, this program that people have been waiting for, this program that we pull the extra mile in bringing those heroes that I wouldn't want to say they are shying away from publicity, but those heroes that have made it so big. So on this program this afternoon, we'll be having one of the greatest minds. You may look at his stature, but you don't know that he's a big man with big goals. So let's welcome formally to the program Mr. Emeka John. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here on Red Alert
Me on set. It's a pleasure. My name is Ngurukwim John Emeka, and I am an entrepreneur. Currently, I have the platform called mypen.ng. Mypen.ng is an ed-tech platform that gives access to teachers and school owners. It helps them to get access to welfare support services, which structured one at that, which on a good day they wouldn't have gotten, and welfare support services in finance. That means some kind of funding that they can access, and medicals, HMOs, and training and recruitment services for school owners. And then before the Lagos State had some issues with bikes, we launched a platform called BikeMe.ng, and this time it wasn't like those of the go-kart and the rest, but we had it something like indoors, that's within town, and it was well doing, but because who can fight the government, So, but now it's different because of the Lagos State government policy on bike. And then we've had some other businesses we did previously, edusozo.com.ng, and an edtech platform as well that has to do with the sales of books, school books, and a whole lot of things like that. So, and that's me. Thank you.
All right. You talked about
mypen.ng.
Yes. Sorry, and I think I like the acronym and what you have explained about that product. But I also want to know, is that mypen.ng for public schools organization or private schools or for every schools organization?
Well, mypen.ng is for everybody, both public school teachers, but the focus is centered on the private school teachers and private school owners. As we speak, we have approximately about 5 million private school teachers in Nigeria. You can verify that online, and we currently have about Lagos State, for instance, we have about close to 13,000 schools in Lagos State. So, and these are private schools, not just the government schools. So, it's something that the platform focuses primarily on the private, but of course open to both the public school teachers as well. Yes.
Okay, sir. So you mentioned something about this bike me stuff. So we want to know, like you said, it's about Okada stuff. Is it that you give them bike to go and work, or they come with their bikes or something? They don't just enlighten us more on how it's done.
Okay. So Bike Me is a It's a bike hailing platform, but this time you really do not use an application. You don't need to go on the App Store to download any app. We make use of the popular WhatsApp, and then you can also hail down our bikes. But the way the platform works is that we give interested riders bikes on the hire purchase system, and then they go ahead to work with it. Then we provide them 7 key benefits why that goes along with the service. Starting from, we provide them with security. We provide them such a situation where they will not be harassed by any law enforcement agent or agency. And then because we provide them with kits, with the riders' kits, they are kitted, and a whole lot of things we provide them also with funding. And as at that time, we had about 410 registered riders on the platform. And surprisingly, it is interesting to note that these riders, before the bikes ever came, they registered with the platform. When they saw our banners and all the publicity we do, they fell in love with it, and it was. As a matter of fact, we had testimonies coming from these people, and it was very, very helpful. But who can fight with the government in court, like I said earlier? But the system helped them to get Okadas, and they were means of livelihood for a whole lot of them. And one thing to note quickly is that the system is not highway; it will just be within the town. So if you're coming from a distant place, say outside Ikorodu, for instance, and then you come to garage, you see the bike me riders, and they were very, very safe. Yes.
So yeah, viewers, let's take some commercial break. You'll get more of this interview from this G.
For sponsorship and advert placement, please call 08102415922. Red Alert FM. News as it breaks. Heroes in disguise, bringing ability out of disability.
Welcome back, viewers. We are still with Mr. John. So, sir, if we may know, for how long have you been in this business? Because you are into 2 aspects of business. You're into transportation and into education. So, for how long have you been into this business?
Okay. For the education, I've been into it since way back, say 2003. But when I started with consulting and all that, but for the platform itself, we started 2017. But technology is something that evolved. So we are taking the business, trying to create an app around it very soon, and that's what we're working on. So basically, we started working that's been in the tunnel for this coronavirus actually delayed, but like from last year up till early this year, we've been working on the app. So put together from 2017 to now, I've been in the business, in that particular business of the online platform. Then for the transportation, it was last year we also started working on it, and then we launched partially last year with all the testing and but that took about eight months. So the issues of we started hearing about government and all that coming up with policies. So we worked around that for almost a year, and then before, I think that was in February, 27 January, February or so, before the government came with the ban Okada riding in Lagos State.
Okay, so Mr. John or Prof, because you are educating all this afternoon. So what is the journey so far? the journey so far for you, the challenges you have, the triumph you have, everything together.
Well, the reality is, and that's the truth. We've always been an entrepreneur is not an easy task. Um, Starting a business is something that even your family members will never get to understand, not until they start to see the results. You know, being an entrepreneur is challenging. You know, you have to source for funds. As a matter of fact, you have to work a bit so that you can have funds to finance your business. And then it's not been an easy task, but you know, when you believe in God to support your dream, and you know, God gives you that, gives you that open door, that opportunities begin to come in. So the challenges are there. The challenges ranging from funding, challenges ranging from there are days you have to go to bed, you know, without food, and then the days where the landlord will have to knock on your head, and then you have to, the fund available, you're trying to put it into doing something in your business. You know, the challenges are there, but then it is rewarding. It is rewarding because you see yourself progressing over the years. You are no more the way you started, and now you started like this, and now you are like this, and then your dreams, and then you look up to people like, say, Jeff Bezos, for instance, and like my mentor, the man of God, Pastor Chris, who you see grew the church to the extent that it is. And you know, a lot of examples that you look at that keeps you going, and then the motivation and inspiration from the Holy Spirit and all that. So it's been God all the way. It's been God.
So before my colleague, News Reservoir, coming with a question, let me quickly just want to know, why are you in disguise? Because from the so many you have explained to me and if you at this afternoon, I can say you are a genius. Nothing but genius is making.
Thank you.
So why are you in disguise?
The reality is not that the one is in disguise, or you are you are hidden. You know, it is until the lamplight is set on you. It is until the searchlight is set, just like Red TV coming on board now, and then giving you that platform to air your views, to let the whole world know what you're doing. If you don't have that kind of platform, you know, people wouldn't get to see. And then, but then you are doing your thing on the ground, you're making headway, and then when that opportunity comes like this, you know, God will just bring them to your doorstep, and you know. So not that one decides to be in disguise, but you know, you have a lot until that opportunity or platform is given for you to be heard. You know, people don't really know, and there are a lot of people even doing much more better than I am doing now, that are yet to be known, or that are yet to get this opportunity that I've gotten this today. So I'm in the open now. I'm in the open.
Okay, sir. You said so much about what you went through to get yourself into working work. If we may ask, what actually inspired you to come into this business aspect?
Okay.
What was this
The
motion?
inspiration behind it. Okay, I think first I owe it to my dad. My dad used to be, he used to own a company before he passed on to glory. He used to own a company, Galasco company, into civil engineering. So I think I caught that entrepreneurial spirit from him. Then from there, you know, having to listen to a great teacher like the man of God, Pastor Chris, over the years inspires you to, you know, to think the right thoughts, to do the right thing, to move towards your direction, your goals. Then looking at the challenges around you, take for example this COVID-19 and teachers. The worst hit individuals are the teachers. And when I mean teachers, private school teachers. The government school teachers are being paid whether they go to classroom or not. But the private school teachers, there's a video that went viral recently on Facebook where a private school teacher was sobbing, was literally crying. This is a grown-up man crying, you know, but these are the things that inspire me, because I want to see a change. I want to be able to to say, okay, this is my own quota that I am contributing to alter the bad to the good. So that was what inspired me to join my to create my pen.ng, such that, take for example, you can't compare a teacher with someone that works in the oil company. You know, it's in code. So when you take for example, a female girl, female takes the male counterpart. Your fiance is a teacher to the parent, and the parent tends to ask, "Oh, what does your husband do? Your husband to be, what does he do for a living?" And he says he's a teacher. When the guy leaves, they will call you and say, "Are you sure you want to go home and you want to suffer?" You know, that's what it's so. There is a lot that teachers are going through in the country, but you need to understand that. Take for example the medical professionals; they are in the front line fighting COVID-19. Teachers are also in the front line attacking ignorance, attacking illiteracy in the country. So it depends on how we perceive them. So there must be something given to these people, special preferences, and that's why my pen.ng exists, so that teachers can come on the platform. When there is COVID-19 like this, they have access to funding, they have access to medical facilities, you know, with the token that is required to join the platform, and so these are my inspiration over the years.
Okay, viewers, you've heard him, but before we go on this commercial break, I want him to prepare his mind. My bike me is now defunct because of government bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So now, by the time we come back, I want you to speak your mind. Whether you are for Lagos State or you are against Lagos State in banning of Okada on major highway initially and the total ban of Okada in Lagos State. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on the Red Alert TV.
For sponsorship and advert placement, please call 08102415922. Red Alert FM. News as it breaks.
Viewers, it's still your favorite show, Heroes in Disguise, right here on Red Alert FM, Red Alert TV. I still have our intellectual guest, Emeka Igborupen, the teacher of teachers. Okay, back to the question. So we want to know, because before the ban, Lagos State government, the governor, said it was alarmed at the rate of accidents in Lagos State and the rate of robbery orchestrated by either the bike man or the bike arrangements. So that was the fundamental reasons for banning the bike. So you as an investor on motorcycle, as a teacher, and everything you can think of, that understand the technical know-how of this Okada arrangement, I know you don't ride on motorcycle and all that. So we want to get your candid opinion.
Okay, I want us to get it straight. For the ban, I am totally against it. But I am not against what the intentions of the government. There are two things. For the ban, I'm totally against it, but I am not against the intention of the government. It's the same thing that the government is trying to achieve, that bike hailing companies are also already achieving, but in a different way. Okay, take for example, in Lagos State, we understand that commuting from point A to point B is disastrous in quote. You will stay in traffic for hours, and take for example, you're going for an appointment on the island, and you leave your home as early as 6. Believe you me, you will not get to that place not until, say, and you have an appointment for 9. You won't get there not until 12. You know, so it calls the roads are so congested that we have a lot of vehicular movement on the roads. When I mean 4 wheels, you know, and multiple wheels, and then you find this thing so um, tiring for people to move from point A to point B. Then that aside, let's look at the welfare of this of the citizens of Lagos State. For example, you are if you put a total ban, has it solved the problem of accident? Has it solved the problem of people not being hit down by vehicles? Four wheels vehicles, the downfall drivers in quotes will always be involved in an accident. They will be involved. As a matter of fact, the statistics shows that they are involved much more in accident than the Okada riders. And then we have a situation where people now depend on the keke, napep, and Okada riding as a means of livelihood. Nigeria, as of today, accounts for the highest number of unemployment rates in sub-Saharan Africa, and then we are banning Okada riding, making them more jobless, adding to the unemployment in the state or in the country, as it were. Now, if the government, the intention of the government is reduce death rates, insecurity, good. Now, why don't you formalize the system? If you formalize the system, it will cure all the worries. Now, if we, even in the place I live, before there is in the estate, you have registration Okada riders that brings you into the estate, and you have the situation where they are registered and you know who is who. So if there is perhaps there are any issues, you can trace that particular fellow. So the intentions of the government are good, but the approach is what is wrong. So I personally am against it. Of course, the government and the governor, His Excellency Governor Sanwo-Olu, he's doing a good job for the state. All kudos to the government, and we all need to give the government our support. But the government needs to also consider, because the government are people, and people are those that put the people into government. So the government needs to consider the people when they are carrying out their policies, so that we will not have a situation where the country will fall, will degenerate into anarchy. So that's it. That's it.
Yeah, so Mr. Emeka Ngukwen, I just talked about making the explanation. You also made mention of tricycle, that's a popular keke mara. So not necessarily wanting to play the devil advocate. Are you also saying that the government ban also affect the keke mara?
Definitely. When the policy came out, I think, was it January 27th or so, but early this year, it affected both the tricycle and the bicycle, as it were, the Okada riders. And then it's okay. Let me give you a very good picture. Let me paint a picture. If you don't provide what people want to eat, or there are no platforms, we talk about the functions of the government. The function of the government is to provide enabling environment for its citizenry to prosper. That's just the simple definition or the very brief function of the government. So if your citizens are not prospering, then there is a big issue or a big problem with the method of governance, not necessarily with the person in government. And then the advisors, who are the advisors? We shouldn't pass policies or make laws that are draconian or that are selfish, because we want to also put up similar structure that will only favor us and our children. We need to know that there is what we call the law of karma, or what the scripture calls the law of sowing and reaping. Whatever you do, whether you are in government, you will surely have to reap, even though you are not in government. So the tricycle, the bicycle banning is something that has really affected negatively persons. Take, for example, the law enforcement agents the police and whoever who wears a uniform now has rights to chase after Okada riders right just in the streets. Now they tend to collect, the bribe, they collect token, and take for example they seize your bike, and then you are not permitted you to take back your bike. You have to, even the keke marwa they enter into, you have to pay as much as 20 to 30, 35, 40,000 naira just to get your bike. Now I need to ask a question. You are riding a keke napep. How much are you making as a rider? These are the things that the government need to address, and we shouldn't try to sweep this under the carpet. It is real. I am not a masses, but I am of the masses. So it is important that we speak on behalf of the masses what they are going through. We did a market survey about those involved in Okada riding, and you need to understand that 98% of these people are not miscreants in court. What about those that collect when the downfall rider is going, those that collect Owole from them? Those are the people the government should deal with. People that get to touch the profit of whatever comes in. We are putting these are misplaced priorities. So we need to address the issue and nail it on the head.
So Mr. Kemi Famikomi is more like a reverse osmosis, where the thugs, the miscreants, the area boys in quotes are having a field day,
Exactly.
and having glorified chieftaincy title, and the legitimate Okada rider
Are suffering from
and people who are not treated,
yeah.
who are not prescribed as a terrorist.
Yes, as the environmental terrorist.
Terrorism. And somebody reminded us yesterday, we were still doing a follow-up on that story, that there was an incident where the policeman chased an Okada man, and the Okada man got knocked by another vehicle.
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
And he died, and they
on
left
the
the
spot,
course.
there.
I don't know, are you familiar with it?
I think that is just one of the stories. There is one I almost witnessed, because as I was coming, it had happened. It was about coming out in the street, coming out from the street, and then sighted the van of this pickup vehicle of the police, and he had to move on a high speed in order not to be caught by them. And then, not unknowing to him, a big truck was coming, and he got crushed on the spot and died on the spot. And then you find these people not bothered about it. Then they drove off, and they were saying, were we the one that chased him? No, because it is there. And it one also happened that when the rider saw the Okada saw them coming, the passenger was the one that got affected, because while he had to speed off, the passenger fell off the bike, and that was it. So this thing shouldn't be.
So, sir, we've known so much about your profession, business, and everything. We want to know personally. We want you to tell us things about your personal life. We're not coming so deep, but just a bit. Just like if you may explain to us, what are your worst moments? What are your happiest moments? What made those moments that made you happy?
Okay. I think I would like to start with my favorite moments. The moments I love most. My best moments are when I get to pray personally. When I'm praying, praying in the Holy Ghost, worshiping. There's this reassurance that I get from the Spirit that I am one with God, and then those things that I envisage about my future, about my plans, they fall into place. Those are my happiest moments, and inclusively, I enjoy when I see my mom, the woman that gave birth to me. I enjoy when I see her dance, when I give her money. There's a song we normally sing. She has always taught me this song, but I just refuse to understand the lyrics. But the tone goes like this: So there's the way she sings it, and when I'm giving her, I spray her the money, she dances. There's this joy I get from her. I derive from within me that I see her dancing, that she's eating the fruit of her labor of these years. Those are my special moments. Then the day I believe my regrets, as who I am, I refuse to have regrets, based on the Holy Spirit teaching us the word of God. But then there are days you tend to regret certain things, and I believe there's this particular day the way I was chastised in court by my former boss about not being able to get some things done for someone, and it wasn't really my responsibility to do it, because someone was not going to be celebrated over something, and then I was attacked as though I was not living up to my job description, and those things were not, it shouldn't be, it came so bad that my morale dropped, and I couldn't continue with, I couldn't just even continue in that garden. I had to just leave and to go and catch my breath before I could come back, but then we moved on, and I'm here today, and that's it.
And you said it's about your maybe personal life, you say things that you deeply.
Yeah, like I said, Christina, I'm a preacher. We're working on, together with my team, we're working on starting up an outreach fellowship soon, as the Holy Spirit directs us, called Good Pleasure Outreach. Good Pleasure Outreach, and then we use the platform to reach out to the less privileged, to the poor, to those that have been affected, those that have been mistaught the teachings of God, as it were. And then I enjoy what was one of my inspiration and satisfaction is when I preach the gospel on the pulpit, when I teach other people, academics, and then teach them God's word, and they get to understand and come out from that problem they're facing. I'm fulfilled, and that's it. That's one of the personal things that my personal things that I do at the side. And these are, as a matter of fact, they are most of that. It is one of the important things I do for my success in life.
So, sir, we all know that the key to a man's heart is to his stomach. So, sir, what are your favorite food?
Okay, my favorite food. Well, personally, I don't have special preference for any kind of food. I like good food as long as it tastes good in the mouth, and then from viewing, it looks appetizing. But I enjoy eating a goosey soup, fufu, and assorted meat in it. And I enjoy to drink gari, granite, and very cold water. So when I see those things, I'm good to go.
If I may quickly ask, with the answer of food you gave to me now, it looks like you're from the east.
Yeah, in where I come from, there's a way we state it in our parlance. We say, in the flesh, I am from the east. If you understand what I mean. But scripturally, I'm from Zion. You understand? From Zion. But I'm from the east, from Imo State precisely. And my dad known from Imo State, and from Indise. To be specific, Abombese Uyugu, from that's, let me not to go deep like that, but then from the east, and then from the realm of the spirit, and from Zion, so to say. But I was born and bred in Lagos. Academics, everything up to my service here, my professional qualifications, and everything in Lagos State.
So you're a Lagos boy.
I'm a Lagos boy. I'm a Lagos boy. Yeah.
So university done. Also round off with this interview or seminar, because I've been teaching us quite a lot. I will just want you to just explain it in 2 minutes why you are called the teacher of teachers.
Well, like we said, teaching is inborn, but then I now had to go to the school of teaching. I went to NC, that's a college of education. Then I furthered to acquire my BSc in economics education, and then my MSc in economics, and then teacher registration council certified. So everything basically I've been in education, and then my mom is a retired teacher, so it's inborn, and then professionally it's there, so I'm certified. So that's why it's something that having to help someone come out from ignorance into learning something has been my goal and passion all this while. So that's why you can call me, sometimes I'm being called the University Don, I'm being called teachers of teachers.
Okay, sir. We really had a long journey with you. But with all this, to top this all up, what advice would you like to give to your viewers out there, mostly the youth out there? What would you advise them to do at this time?
At this time, well, simple and short, success is achievable. Failure is achievable. As a matter of fact, you don't need to do anything to be a failure, but you have to do something to be a success. You take, for example, there is this bad stigma when it comes to the Nigerian youth outside the country. Take, for example, the recent hush puppy thing. There are Nigerians that are 10,000 times doing much more better stuff than what we have there. So I want to encourage every youth that have a dream, have a vision, have a mission, have a conviction of what you want to achieve in this life, and then look up to God, that God is the only one that will grant you, or that has given you the power to get wealth. So be who you said you want to be. Be focused, and then set your goals, and definitely you will achieve them.
Be who you want to be focused. That's the only key to success. So our viewers, you've heard him in the last 30 minutes or so. He has been talking to us, he has advised us, he has teach us, he has preached to us, and here at Fred Alert FM is still your program of choice, Heroes in Disguise. And we've had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time with Professor Emeka Nwifem.
Professor.
You have a boy, you have a...
I really had a wonderful time. It was a great time with him. I still remain Ruth Ojobo.
For sponsorship, advert placement, please call 08102415922. Red Alert FM. News as it breaks. Red Alert FM. News as it breaks.